everyone, today I'm here to film a book review slash discussion, and that book is going to be Winter by Marissa Meyer. If you don't know already, I am obsessed with this series as of lately, and yeah, I just read Crest right before this book, and I had to read this one immediately, and yeah. First thing I'm going to talk about is the Lunar Chronicles in general. So if you really don't know much about the Lunar Chronicles, I'm going to talk briefly about it, so maybe you can learn more and decide if you want to read this series. Then I will be having a spoiler discussion, completely spoiler, because this is the last book in the series, and what's the point of not spoiling it? If you are unfamiliar with Lunar Chronicles, it is a 4-book series, and it consists of, first book is Cinder, then we have Scarlet, then we have Crest, and the last book is Winter. So basically what the Lunar Chronicles is a fantasy series, but it's a fairy tale retelling in that fantasy series. So if you notice, each one of these books have different character names. The first book revolves around Cinder, and this is a loosely based interpretation on Cinderella. It's all about a character named Cinder who is half human, half cyborg. Isn't that intriguing? Basically what the first book is all about, you are introduced to Cinder and you learn she's half cyborg, half human, and she lives with her stepmother who is horrible, and she has 2 stepsisters, one who she gets along well with and one she does not. She's basically, Cinder's a mechanic, you know? She's a very nitty-gritty girl who doesn't get a lot of appreciation and a lot of love. Then there's this whole disease going on in this whole land called lumatosis, I think. I pronounced that wrong. It's, as soon as you get it, you really die. So, Cinder's stepmother signs her up for, like, research and stuff to see if they can find a cure. Da-da-da-da. Then she eventually meets Prince Kai, who is, like, the emperor, if you will. So, that's what the whole series is based on, you know. We do have this whole, Prince Kai, who is pretty much the emperor of Earth. And then we have another place called Luna, which is quintessentially on the moon, and who rules that is Queen Lavina, who is the evil empress, and she is just downright evil. So the whole series takes place about this. It's all about, you know, Queen Lavina trying to take over the earth and being evil and stuff, and all these characters I'm going to talk about trying to prevent that. And Cinder is a great start to the series. It's just so amazing. Cinder is a very strong protagonist. She knows what she wants, she knows what she wants to say, she doesn't hold anything back, and, you know, there's this whole thing looming over this whole series that I can't spoil, obviously, but it's just so good. The series is just amazing. After that, we have Scarlet, which is loosely based on Little Red Riding Hood. So Scarlet, so what I love about Lunar Chronicles series is, yes, each one of these books is named after different female characters, but in Scarlet, you don't lose Cinder completely. Cinder is still very much a part of the story, and it goes on and goes forth. So we still get Cinder's story a lot in Scarlet. Scarlet and Cinder talk, they become friends, this whole book is about that. This is about Scarlet, who, you know, Wolf is involved. I can't give too much away for those that go into the series, but yeah. And then the next one we have is Crest, which is loosely based on Rapunzel. And Crest is one of my favorites. It's just so good. So like I said previously, we get a lot of Cinder, we get a lot of Scarlet. So each one of these books, as it goes on, you just get more and more characters to fall in love with, but you're still maintaining the same story. Each one of these books, there's several different storylines going on, you know. In Crest, we're seeing what's happening to Scarlet, we're seeing what's happening to Wolf, we're seeing what's happening to Cinder, we're seeing what's happening to Kai. We're getting all these different point of views, but at the end of each book, it all interweaves together. It all forms a very cohesive story. And that leads us to Winter, which is the epic finale of the book. So mine is, Lunar Chronicles is an amazing series. Like I said, you have so many points of view, you have so many different characters you can fall in love with that all interweave into one main story. And it's a fairy tale retelling, so you're getting glimpses of here and now and then. It's not heavily based on each of the fairy tale. It's very loosely hinted at, if you will. It's just an amazing series that, you know, just has a loosely based on fairy tales, and it's got great fantasy, and it's got great characters, and overall an amazing plot. So I've not read Lunar Chronicles. I hope I explained that enough for you. All I can say is it's a great fantasy fairy tale retelling. They're just amazing. That's the bottom line. Is I can't recommend this series more, honestly. If you haven't read this series, I highly recommend you read it. It's an amazing series. If you haven't read any of them, go ahead and marathon them all. Seriously, I think the best way to read the Lunar Chronicles is just to read them all continuously. I read Crest and immediately after I read Winter, and I think it really heightened the experience of reading for me for this series. It made me fall in love with it. I felt like I was in a good, solid storyline for like a month and a half while reading these 2 books, and it was just amazing. So yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about the Lunar Chronicles, and now I'm going to talk about winter. So if you haven't read the series, please do not watch any further because you will be spoiled a lot, and I don't want that for you because you should read the series because it is stunning and amazing and awesome and all that good stuff. Okay, let's talk about winter. First, let's talk about this cover. If you don't love this cover, and plus I got this from Target, so it's got fan art in it, and I love actually seeing this and putting like a face to the characters. Winter is the biggest book of them all, and it's the epic finale to the series. I gotta say, Winter did not disappoint at all. I really liked it. It was very good, a very cohesive storyline. I felt Marissa Meyer wrapped it up completely and wholly, and I felt satisfied. When I finished that last page, I felt like the story was done. Everything was good. I was happy with leaving it, even though not really, like I don't want to leave it. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like it was completed. I don't feel like there's any questions left answered. So we meet Winter. We get various glimpses of Winter in the previous book, Cress, and we learn that Winter is, you know, the queen's stepdaughter, and I highly recommend also, before reading Winter, you read Ferris by Marissa Meyer. It's a backstory on Queen Lavinia, and you get to learn more about Winter's father and how that came to be. I'm so glad I read that. It's a very short book. It's like 200 pages, I think. You can fly through it in a day. I know I read it in a day, so I highly recommend. I'd say you must read Ferris before you read this because it just gives you a good backstory on Winter, and not backstory on Winter, but rather her. Winter is such an amazing character. You know, she's based on Snow White, and when you think of Snow White, you think of a very fair, beautiful, just people love Snow White. She's just so fair and so nice and graceful, and Winter is that, you know. But I love how Marissa Meyer put a spin on Winter, you know. She made Winter refuses to use her lunar gift, which is, you know, manipulation, you know, glamours and stuff like that. And because of that, she's going kind of insane because it's, you know, if you don't use your gift, you go kind of insane. And we're seeing that, but she's still such a nice, honest, amazing character. And she's got scars on her face from what Queen Lavinia did, and she's not afraid to, she doesn't want to glamour them. She wants everyone to see who she is, and yet people still regard her as the most beautiful girl in all of Luna. And Winter was such a great character. The only qualm I have with this book, I feel like I wanted more Winter, you know? With the whole series, we have Cinder in book 1. We get to see Cinder in each book. So we're getting 4 books of Cinder, like 3 books of Scarlet, 2 books of Cress, and then we get Winter in the very last one. So I feel like I wanted more Winter, you know? That's the only thing. I was like, I want more Winter. I really loved her, and I loved her character development, and I felt like she was a very solid part of this army, honestly. And, you know, Jackman, I heard his name's like Jason, honestly. But, so I'm going to call him Jason, I guess. You know, Jason is a great, solid character, you know. He's not a prince, but he's like a guard, and he's been her best friend forever. And I really loved their little romance. I thought that was great. Let's talk about the whole storyline, you know. This whole book is about them on Luna, and they are going to start a revolution. They're going to take down Queen Lavinia, and it's going to be that. A good 3/4, 3/2, 3/4, whatever you want to call it, of this book is planning. Planning for this thing. You know, there's all these things they have to do. They can't just march in and take the palace over. They have to do several things before that. They have to go recruit soldiers, which I thought was awesome, how Winter was involved in that, and Cinder was involved in that too. I thought that was amazing. What I love about this series is sometimes with books, things go a little bit too okay. Like, you know, like there's just no problems. They can go and take a revolution, do all this stuff. In this book, you're getting a lot of trial and error. You're getting a lot of downfalls, honestly. You know, I feel like with every confrontation Cinder has, something happens. Somebody gets taken away, somebody gets stabbed, something happens. Like, something bad happens. There's never, like, been a part where they're like, we walked out of this completely unscathed. You know, it's always been a downfall, which is war, honestly. You know, I don't think there's been a war where everything's been peachy keen at the end, that everything went exactly the way you planned. You know, it doesn't happen like that. It was just really realistic, and I love that. And I love the planning. You know, they had to do several things. Get soldiers. They had to, you know, do a lot of video feeds. You know, they had to secretly do things. It was, a lot of this book was planning, which at some points it did drag a little bit. I felt like, is this battle ever going to happen? What's going to happen? But it was overall really good. I wasn't 100% like really dissatisfied with it, but there were some parts that were kind of lagging, honestly. But that happens with books. Overall, I wasn't like I didn't get, that wasn't the takeaway for me from this book was, holy crap, this book lagged a lot. Overall, the takeaway was, I'm very sad this series is over, and I thought it wrapped up nicely. So, you know, the last good, I'd say, portion of the book is the battle, them going to the palace and them fighting Queen Lavinia, and that was very fast. Everything happened very fast, and I'm like, if this happened in real time, that would all happen, like, within, like, an hour, and that's what I felt like I read, honestly. Like, as soon as they got to Armichishia, whatever you call it, you know, everything was like wham bam, you know, let's do this. And that's exactly how I felt reading it. When I was reading it, I got a very strong, like, this doesn't really make sense, but you know, if you've read Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the very last chunk of that book happened so fast. Everything was like very quickly in that night. And that's exactly, and I felt when I was reading that, my 13-year-old stuff, I'm like, this is happening. This is so fast. Everything's going, like, what's going on? I was like, that was my feelings reading this. I was just so amped up. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, everything's happening right now. It's crazy. And I just loved how it ended. I love the scene where, you know, Lavinia and Cinder were both holding, like, their manipulation on each other, trying to make the other one not shoot the gun, and finally Queen Lavinia gave up, and she's like, you know, just take my throne, and then, you know, she hands Cinder the gun, and then she stabs her. I was just like, you know, Cinder really chose, honestly, she showed herself in that moment, you know. She showed that even though Lavinia really doesn't deserve anything, she wasn't going to kill her, really. I don't think she was going to kill her. She was going to spare her because that's the type of person Cinder is. But it just shows Lavinia's true colors, and it was just amazing. The series, like, I felt like, I loved how there was, like, a good 4 or 5 pages of each, like, character's wrap up, you know. We get Cress and Thorn, who are honestly my favorite couple. I don't know, actually. That's a hard one to choose for. But I love Cress and Thorn. I love the build-up. I'm such a Thorn fan, honestly. When I first read Thorn, I did not think I was going to like him as much as this did. But he reminds me so much of Han Solo. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because he's cocky and he's just like, I'm the best, but he's still kind of a bad guy, and he's definitely got that Han Solo vibe, if you know what I mean. And he just falls for this beautiful, nice girl, which is so cute. I loved how they wrapped that up, you know. I knew from when, like, the third book, I'm like, at the end, I bet you Cress is going to go on Thorn's ship and they're just going to travel Earth together so she can finally travel and see everything. And I was so happy I was reading about that. And we get a little glimpse of Winter and Jason and how they wrap up, and that was very sweet. I really wanted a little bit more of them because, you know, like I said, we're not getting a ton of Winter in this book because this was the only book she was really in. And then we get Scarlet and Wolf, and I love Scarlet and Wolf. I just love how they're both so strong, but Wolf is still so tender. You know, it's like Beauty and the Beast almost, even though it's, you know, Little Red Riding Hood, but he's like a beast, but he's got that gentle side to him, and that was just very sweet. And then, of course, Cinder and Kai. Oh my gosh, can your heart melt more in these last, like, 20 pages? You're getting, like, a relationship, like, you get Winter and Jason, the next page you get Cress and Thorn, then you're like, oh my gosh, my heart's so full. Then you get Scarlet and Wolf, you're like, oh my gosh, so much mushy stuff. And then you get Cinder and Kai, and you're just like in a big puddle on the floor of just ooey, gooey, lovey, amazing stuff. I don't know if you like romance, but I love love. That is me. If I could have a quote about myself, it would be, I love love. It was just such a way to end it. I loved it. I really felt, you know, I really liked Marissa Meyer's way of, you know, just giving each character, you know, because I was really worried about how she was going to wrap it up, because you have all of these characters. Think about it. In Cinder, you have, like, Cinder and Kai, then Scarlet, you introduce Cinder, then you introduce Scarlet, Wolf, and Thorn, and then in Cress you introduce Cress, and then in Winter you introduce Winter and Jay. You have all of these characters, and you are just wondering how she's going to wrap it up, how you're going to feel fulfilled, and I really felt she did an amazing job, and I was really happy that it was just a couple pages, but you still felt like it was full. Overall, I loved this book. I loved how this was all about female empowerment, about doing the right thing, about standing up for what's right, and taking down evil, you know. It's like fairy tale retelling, only with a kick, a jab, a punch, and some kickboxing in there. You know, it's totally different from fairy tales. Yes, it's got that ooey gooey romance stuff, but it's also got strong female powerhouses that are amazing and strong, and each one of them has their own strengths, you know. Cress is amazing at hacking, and she did so much with the computer stuff. Cinder, you know, is the queen. You know, she's going to be the queen, and she's just, she just transformed into that and so well. And throughout the whole series, she's nervous about how she's going to become the queen and how she's going to fight for these people. And what is she going to do? Because she doesn't feel like a queen, but she just was so amazing and steps right up to the plate. And, you know, we have Scarlet. Scarlet's the very brass, the very strong one. And then we have Winter, who is very damaged, but still offers so much. A lot about the series, you know, there's so many key elements, you know, with the, you know, evil and, you know, manipulations a lot in this book, and hiding who you really are, you know. Queen Lavinia has been trying to hide behind this mask of scars and everything, and if she would have, you know, let him be out 20 years ago, her life could have been different. If she chose love instead of power, her life could have been different, you know, and it's just all about that. And I am so sad this series is over. I'm so sad because it was such an amazing series, and it's one of my favorite series, like top 5 now for sure. And I'm just sad it's over, but I'm happy that Stars Above are coming out soon, which is like a book of novellas in the Lunar Chronicles world. So I'm going to devour that whole. And then I think the book Hangover is really going to hit after I read that, because then it will be officially over. But then Marissa Meyer's coming out with a new book, which is like a Alice in Wonderland thing. So I'm like, oh, I feel like you're not leaving me completely, Marissa Meyer. You're still here. So I'm happy about that. If you have read Winter, tell me what you thought about it. Was your favorite of the series? I would have to say this and Cress. It's a very close call which one's my favorite, honestly. But I adore this series so. And yeah, let me know what your favorite book is. Let me know who your favorite character is. You know, who do you like most? I don't know. I love all of these female characters and how strong and amazing they are, and how much they are an amazing team, and how much they bring out each other's strengths. That's awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna go because I feel like this is a very long video, but that's okay because discussion videos are what it's about. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, and bye!